All right, wonderful people, lovers of freedom. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to each and every one of you. Welcome back to Expose News TV, your one and only YouTube platform. We're giving out back-to-back updates on how things they be, on how things they shele for Biafra land and beyond. If you're joining us for the first time, remember to subscribe and turn on your notifications too. Also, remember to like and share this broadcast too. All right, the Nigerian military currently arresting Southeast residents detains outrageous number of Igbos in Niger State's Wawa barracks. This is coming from Barrister Ejiofor. Yes, my people, if this particular talk was coming from the PM Simon Ekpa Njoko, people would come out and say that is always the normal talk of the PM, and we know even at this point that even the Barrister Ejiofor at this point is not in good terms, or PNFI is not even happy with everything that is going on with that concerns Barrister Ejiofor, and he's coming out to say this. What does this say about this particular news that is coming out at the moment? Yes, so that you would not claim or say that it's just normal talk just to push the agenda of the Biafra movement. Ejiofor said that the enforced disappearance in the southeast region of Nigeria has become a harrowing crisis that politicians in the region, especially those who are currently campaigning for elections in 2027, have continued to willfully ignore. Barrister Ejiofor, human rights activist, has raised the alarm over the rising incidents of abductions and enforced disappearances of the Southeast residents, allegedly by the Nigerian security forces, the ZOO security forces. Ejiofor said that enforced disappearance in Southeast region of Nigeria has become a harrowing crisis that politicians in the region, especially those who are currently campaigning for elections in 2027, have continued to willfully ignore. He lamented that hundreds of Southeast elderly parents, young men and women are allegedly regularly taken by Nigerian security forces, disappearing without a trace, noting that the relatives of the victims could no longer determine the status or whereabouts or whether they were still alive. Ejiofor said that Ejiofor commented in a recent publication that he has raised this alarm over the shocking number of our people being abducted daily by state actors under the guise of combating rising insecurity in the southeast, when actually the people that should be looked into concerning this rising insecurity is the north, as a whole lot of things keep happening out their area. But then what they are more concerned about is the Biafra movement, and that is why they send their people instead to protect themselves from whatever it is they are facing there, which we all know that it's actually government people that are sponsoring those people that are terrorizing them. Of course, what they have decided to do is to send these same people to us here to come and kill and abduct people that would help the cause of the movement. Hundreds of our elderly parents, brothers, and sisters are regularly taken by Nigerian security forces, disappearing without a trace. Our concern deepens with the increasing number of distress calls we receive daily from the families of some of these victims of enforced disappearance. It is especially troubling that the relatives of these victims can no longer determine their status, whereabouts, or even whether they are still alive. The reason for their arrest remains unknown because there is no reason, no just cause for arresting these people, further compounding the agony for their families. Unfortunately, this alarming trend has not been met with the deserving public outcry and condemnation, particularly from those who claim to represent us in high political offices. Instead, a fraction of these officials, seemingly absorbed by the privileges of their position, are preoccupied with the preparation for the upcoming election. Now that the Amnesty International has stepped into to corroborate our concerns about these secret abductions and forced disappearances, we call on our political leaders across all levels to denounce the state actors responsible for this crime against humanity and demand an end to these grave infractions. Of course, these people are not concerned because they don't want to get themselves involved or get killed or won by the people that are actually involved in the abductions. They are scared of them. The leaders are scared of them. They sound what they only are interested in is the money and the positions they would get from when anything works out well for them. He says here that we have also suggested in our various discussions that security agents have the capacity to identify their targets and apprehend the actual threats, yet they continue to target ostensibly innocent and harmless citizens, which is the truth. According to him, these innocent individuals are then transported to unknown locations where they may be either killed or indefinitely detained without any trace. Wawa military barracks in Niger State, for instance, is currently holding an outrageous high number of innocent Igbos who have been detained indefinitely with no hope of freedom in sight. I am urging the governors of the southeast states to take immediate action and use the machinery of the government to address this high rising trend. My people, this is what it is. Listen to the next audio that comes by. It is going to be very important that you listen as you follow up with everything that concerns the movement. Thank you.
Biafra war. Let us see what he has said. He says here, Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president of Nigeria, recently spoke at the conference on youth leadership titled Opportunities for Peace, Roles of the Youth in Conflict Prevention in Africa. He called on youth to be advocates of conversation over violence, highlighting the critical role that youths play in promoting peace. My people, I made this thing recently. I say we cannot go down if we are not, if you've not done the needful. We can. Peace is not even an option right now. If people have decided not to give us what we want, if you've decided not to give us a Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has decided not to give us our Biafra freedom, our Biafra referendum, peace is not an option. And so whatever you say now in a conference might be true and will be moved by gullible people that do not know what the true movement for the Biafra army or the true movement for the Biafra is. They are the ones that might look into it. But the true people know the reason why we've been fighting this hard and we've been fighting for this long. And that is those are the people that will not give up or that will not be moved by these gullible speeches that he's making at this particular point. He said, according to him, according to Obasanjo's article, he said that the country has shown resiliency during the civil war by returning to the round table for settlement in spite of severe conflict. He exhorted the youths of today to adopt this mindset and convince those who lean violently to think twice. Additionally, he emphasizes the significance of fostering a culture of peace and empathy in the next generation. In Obasanjo's words, during the Civil War, we killed ourselves mercilessly and destroyed our best facilities, but we still came back to the round table to get the challenge resolved. Youth must develop the culture of peace, the culture of humanness, the culture of living the way God wants us to live. Okay, so now this is what he is advising them to do. But then to do what is needful, we Biafrans have always been people of peace. We have always wanted peace in our lives. Every single thing about us has always been about peace. We are not people of war. We do not want war. We have never ever wanted war. But then it is the situation people put us into that make us want to lean to war. Yeah, of course, that is the situation. We are not people of war. I don't know if he's trying to say that the war and everything that is happening now is how. No. The youths of nowadays, the Biafrans of nowadays, are leaning into war because that is what they have pushed us into. Because that is the situation they have pushed us into. We did not just wake up one day and decide to wake up and push ourselves into war. The reason why the Nigerian army and the Biafra Liberation Army, the BLA, are clashing 24/7 is because of the fact that they have refused to do the needful. They have refused to release our leader, Ohamadike Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, that is why we are leaning into war. They have refused also to give us what we've been asking for the longest of times after the civil war. I believe you me, if they have given us what they want instead of leaning into the civil war, my people, I do not think we would have been here by now. I believe everywhere we would have been on their own. They would have been on their own. And we would be where we are because, of course, there is no need for any war and we would be happy with our state. And by now, I believe you me, the kind of progress we would have made would not be one to even be trifled with. But of course, na so e dey be, na so e dey hot. Once you come for this conference, they will just make it look like everything that is happening now is our fault, because violence is not the answer. Aneku. None of this is going to make the real Biafrans turn away from what is needful. The people that cannot be turned, cannot be swayed by these gullible talks, they know the real fight, and they are not going to give us. And so on that particular note, nothing of such can make us give up on our fight or stop doing whatever it is we've been doing ever since. And so because of that, we'll keep on fighting and doing the needful no matter what. So yes, my people, this is where we've come to the end of this particular broadcast. Thank you for joining us. Remember to subscribe and turn on your notifications too. Thank you.